Now, the overseas briefing tonight begins with pretty big news from Libya. Libya has offered a huge amount of money to settle the Lockerbie bombing case. The law firm representing the families of the victims on Pan Am 101, which was bombed over Scotland, says the amount is $2.7 billion. That would mean $10 million for every family if they accept it. There are several conditions attached to the offer. There'll be more about this tomorrow. Pakistan has conducted its third test since Saturday of a missile capable of carrying a nuclear weapon to India. Pakistan, it says, it is the last test for the moment. No secret how worried the United States is about this. ABC's John McCarthy is at the Pentagon tonight. John, there's a late reaction as to what the U.S. is trying to do.
Well, Peter, one of the things that we have learned, U.S. officials say that they have now drawn up contingency plans for the emergency evacuation of official Americans. Those are people who draw their paychecks from the U.S. government from both India and Pakistan if things get any worse in that standoff.
Now, I know the people in that building who were concerned that the Pakistanis are so concentrated on the Indians, they're not working as hard on Taliban and al-Qaeda.
The U.S. had been working hand in glove with the Pakistanis on the Pakistani side of the border looking for senior al-Qaeda or any of the al-Qaeda fighters. That has now been stalled as Pakistan's government looks to that conflict or the confrontation with India.
And one last item from there to John. I know that the U.S. is going to put men in harm's way in the Philippines.
Well, there is a recommendation from the top U.S. military official in the Pacific to allow American Special Operations Forces to go out on patrol with Filipino troops as they hunt the Abu Sayyaf terrorists in the jungles on Basilan Island. This would be a step up, a higher risk for American troops there.
Many thanks, John. Three pieces of significant information from the Pentagon tonight. In the rest of the overseas briefing, in the Palestinian West Bank today, a Palestinian got into a Jewish settlement near Nablus and opened fire on students. 3 Israelis died, and the attacker was killed. Amnesty International released its annual report on human rights in the world today. It says the U.S. has sacrificed some human rights in the interest of security since September 11th, particularly by passing emergency laws to detain foreigners without trial. And the organization says several other countries, including South Korea, Jordan, India, and China, have used the war on terrorism to step up repression and undermine human rights protection, which also leads to stifling of political dissent. Here at home again, divers pull more vehicles and more bodies from the river in Oklahoma, where a tugboat tore down a bridge over the weekend. That story when we come back. The latest crash test results for cars are better than ever. We're going to take a closer look at how that has come to pass.
Now where people can expect to walk away from serious frontal crashes with very minor injuries.
And at the end of the broadcast tonight, call him the real Spider-Man. You actually find him in Paris.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by Chevy Trucks.